Hey guys, Dantix here, bringing you everything you need to know about Star Wars Outlaws, the next canon open-world Star Wars game coming August 30th, set between the events of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Frankly, the idea of being chased around by crime syndicates and the dirty underbelly of the Star Wars universe, while simultaneously stealing and double-crossing them, has me excited. Also, the game will involve you gathering a skilled crew to pull off a suicidal heist, which fondly reminds me of Mass Effect 2. Yes, the point of difference with Outlaws is that you aren't playing a good guy or even a Jedi, like Star Wars Survivor. You're playing an outlaw, Kay Vess, who's a scoundrel seeking freedom and a means to start a new life. You'll need to fight, steal, and outwit your way through the galaxy's crime syndicates as you join the galaxy's most wanted. So in this video, I'll be taking you through all the information we know so far so you have a better idea if this game is for you. Since there aren't many major releases in the coming few months, is this worth a look? First, let me address the bantha in the room. The game is published by Ubisoft, meaning that yes, their last few open world games have not exactly been smash hits, and it does seem like most fade into obscurity, getting decent reviews but never really being anyone's absolute favorites, not for a long while at least. The development is mostly done by Massive Entertainment, who have worked on The Division 1 and 2, as well as Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which was actually pretty good. Game Informer asked the creative director of Outlaws if there are any towers you can climb in the open world to unlock the map, and he confirmed that there aren't. So this doesn't seem like your typical Ubisoft game. Maybe they've learned enough from making Avatar that this one may be different. Though there are some typical Ubisoft practices present that I'm not happy with, like 3 different editions, the Ultimate going for $129.99 USD, as well as the game having 2 announced DLCs before it's even released, which I'll run through soon. The game will be releasing on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. However, let's get into why I think this game has the potential to be a hit. Unlike Starfield, which has people exploring tons of meaningless planets, Outlaws will be focused. Open worlds across iconic Star Wars locations. This includes Tatooine and Akiva, but will also include previously unexplored locations like Toshara, as seen in the gameplay trailer. Outlaws is touted as one of the first open world Star Wars games ever, but I think the Old Republic series has something to say about that if you want to debate over the semantics of what open world means. The game is also part of official Star Wars canon, meaning that even though there will be choices to be made throughout the game, there can only be one real ending. You're a scoundrel though, so the game has a deep reputation system. Choices will impact your character's reputation, as seen in the gameplay when you steal from the Pikes.
They'll probably forgive me.
Since the Pikes saw Kay, you'll lose reputation with them, something you may have avoided if you were stealthier. You also refuse to bribe the Empire, which shows off the bounty system, which is not too different from a GTA-style wanted system. So expect how you can approach situations, how missions play out, and their rewards to differ based on this. Similar to Star Wars Fallen Order and Survivor, you have a trusty companion with you that can be commanded to do context-sensitive things.
Means context sensitive. It's sensitive to context.
Like distract in stealth or bring you weapons. The little guy's name is Nix, and no doubt we can expect merch to come out even before the reviews hit. So with Nix by your side, fight with your blaster and overcome enemies with stealth and gadgets, or find the right moments to distract enemies and gain the upper hand. This won't be a typical good guy Star Wars. You'll be stealing, you'll be double dealing, and you won't have a lightsaber to fall back on. You'll be gaining and losing alliances depending on which contracts you carry out, offering lucrative jobs if you get on their good side, or literally hunting you down if you cross them. Reputation will also have influence on the vendors you come in contact with, the jobs you take on themselves, the support you receive and from whom, and even access you have to certain territories. The idea of being chased across the galaxy by notorious crime bosses sounds like a completely different angle, and frankly, one that has me very interested. You'll also be chased in space while in your ship, the Trailblazer. There will be dogfights, though it doesn't seem as deep as the other Star Wars games in that regard. It does seem fun and does extend the wanted system to a new avenue, so you can't just flee into space to avoid conflict. Until you use your hyperdrive to get away, that is. true to the movies. Speaking of conflict, it does seem like the game's antagonist is named Sliro, and he leads a criminal syndicate called Zarek Besh, though you'll be dealing with all syndicates across the Outer Rim during this golden age of crime. After a job gone bad, he places a large bounty on Kay's head and sends one of the galaxy's best bounty hunters after her, though the fact she tries to punch a commando droid with her fists lead me to believe that maybe she isn't all that smart. The Golden Path will have you gathering up skilled crew members in order to pull off a heist to rob Sliro's heavily guarded and impossible to get out alive mansion. Once again, reminds me of Mass Effect 2. You'll travel across the Outer Rim to find skilled outlaws to help, though you'll also meet iconic characters like Jabba the Hutt, where you'll see Solo still encased in carbonite. Reputation with Jabba and the Hutts will follow you across the galaxy. The game also seems to be focused on the cinematic, a more engaging open world with a proper storyline. Everything brings me back to Star Wars Survivor because it's an easy comparison, and if they nail that feel, it has the potential of being great. Though from the onset, I'm not all too impressed with the graphics. Maybe they toned down what they showed previously to run more smoothly on consoles, which is fine, as I would take a graphically inferior but smoother game over the opposite. Graphics really aren't everything, and the only thing I'm not quite yet sold on is the gameplay. We've seen some recently, though this feels a little to me like the handcrafted Anthem trailer we received before its release. I want to believe that what we see is what we'll ultimately be getting, so I'll choose to until I see proof otherwise. Let's get into it. The gameplay opens with Kay and Nix hiding from the Pike, in what is no doubt one of their bases. The objective is to escape, so we don't see what she had to do to steal from them. We just know she's yet to be discovered. We also see that this is a restricted area. Left bumper is to change weapon and right bumper is to command Nix. Other than that, the UI is very clean. It has me believing that this is not a complete build or is a chopped up bit of gameplay for our sakes, as the text for leave the area and even take down seems like they were placed over the footage rather than being rendered in the gameplay, though it could be my imagination. We see her then taking down a hired gun with one punch. Now, a lot of you are probably grumbling about a female protagonist, but do note that she's not an all-powerful Supergirl boss. She's a human, and you're going to need to use tricks and stealth to get by. So by holding right bumper, you see the options you have when commanding Nix. By highlighting options, your pet can do different things, like attack the guards, jump out in the middle of them and distract them, or press a button which moves the crane, giving you some cover. Nix is smaller and doesn't call attention to himself like Kay would. Though I'm surprised the crane moving doesn't even turn her head, though I suppose they're used to it in a scrapyard. Kay holds onto the crate and is taken on a journey, eventually dropping off before it reaches its destination. However, while sneaking, one of the hired guns sees her. It seems to force you to raise your hands and make a quip about just leaving. Before he can shoot though, Kay sends a few rounds into him, alerting the guards. What you should note is that each blast round makes the guard reel in a different way. Hitting the legs makes it collapse in on itself. A lot of explosions later, and Kay finds herself against a guard with a shield which reflects blaster shots. So by holding left bumper, you bring up your weapon options. These seem to revolve around the pistol. The first is the blaster module, which is your obvious damage option. The other is a stun module, which could perhaps be a way of playing non-lethally. And the final one, which she switches to, is the focused module. After a switching animation is played, she fires at close range, which seems to electrocute the shield and in turn, the enemy. The shield pulses and turns off, just in time for her to follow up with a melee attack. This is a takedown animation, but no option came up to do it, so the player must have gotten in before the option came up, or melee attacks turn into takedowns when requirements are met. Here, Kay gets hit with a single blaster shot, which does a third of her HP, which is split into 3 bars, so a full bar is taken off, meaning you don't really want to be in the middle of a firefight as Kay. She fires the focus blast a few times, then decides to switch back to blaster, which is more effective on a non-shielded enemy. She then commands Nix to pick up a rifle from a dead enemy. She could have also commanded him to get the med pack. She then aims at the explosive barrel and takes another syndicate member out. She does some console controller aiming on the next set of enemies, taking one out. Nix then arrives back at Kay with a new gun. She has to hold Y to pick it up. It seems very powerful, able to blow up some explosives and then miss every other enemy. Weapons you pick up seem to have limited ammo before you need to dispose of them, denoted by the bar next to the crosshairs. So your pistol will be your main weapon in a true smuggler fashion. Unclear if you can upgrade or replace it with different pistols, but with the announced bonus cosmetics in the Ultimate Edition, we know you can at the very least change the skins at the workbench. She then uses that moment to run and holds Y to attach a grappling cable and swing down conveniently to where her speeder is parked. Also conveniently, it's the same speeder you can unlock with the pre-order of the game. A to mount the speeder, and you see some options for it at the bottom right. Boost at the top and health bars at the bottom. So the mission to leave the area is a success and checked off with a tick. A new one appears and says get to safety, just as enemy speeders arrive. Landing after getting some airtime damages your speeder slightly. Also note that there are special abilities with your blaster while you're on the speeder by pressing L and R together. This slows down time and lets you target up to 5 enemies. Then by activating or letting time run out, you shoot the targeted enemies with multiple shots. It takes them out and the get to safety quest is ticked off. You then give ND5, your Enforcer Commander droid, a call, and it asks if you were seen. K quips that it doesn't matter, so obviously if you get through unseen, the rewards and results of this mission would be different, down to the dialogue. After the conversation ends, you get a notification that the Pike Syndicate reputation has dropped. You also have a quest hand-in icon on your map. You arrive at Jaunter's Hope, and the city seems to be bustling with traffic and NPCs. Kay walks into the bar and meets ND5. Now begins the cinematic. ND5 warns you not to trust the broker, and Kay walks in. You see the broker with an officer of the Empire. It becomes clear that she's asking for a bribe. The player opts not to bribe the officer. If you did, I can imagine your quest reward would be lower, but you wouldn't get the immediate consequences of the Empire chasing you down, which is what happens. You take your 2,500 credits unmolested, but as soon as you exit the bar, you hear an Imperial message going out to all troopers to look for you, and then all screens showing your face. Then wanted flashes on your screen as ND5 asks if that was you. You bolt towards the ship as a new mission appears, escape the Empire. In the top left, you see the Empire logo and 3 bars, indicating you have a rank 3 wanted level with them, 6 being the highest. I imagine each faction will have their own wanted meter. As you run onto your ship, you run past your workbench, which gives you the option to use it, so no doubt there'll be customization in some way, it's just unclear if it's cosmetic only. Kay sits down and gets options for the map, to take off or to stand up. Take off is selected, and after a short animation, breaking the atmosphere, you have control over the ship. We see 3 bars on the left of the crosshair and 5 on the right of the ship, with the hyperdrive on the right D-pad. When the TIE fighters attack, more options come up. A for missiles, B for cannons, and X for repair. We have shields in blue and health in red bars or pips. You can zoom in to better aim and boost, though it's unclear what buttons these are on. It doesn't seem particularly hard to shoot the TIE fighters down as you'd expect, but it also seems quite easy to take lethal damage. As you shoot, a red bar on the right fills up, probably meaning there is an overheating mechanic at play. When you boost, a yellow bar depletes on the left. As you shoot down TIE fighters, your wanted meter grows to rank 4. When you get out of the debris field, the player presses right on the D-pad for hyperdrive and selects the Akiva orbit, but they could have changed it to another one if they wanted to with up on the D-pad. It then starts calibrating and is interrupted as you take a hit, meaning you won't be able to simply flee while under fire. The player also uses a barrel roll, which is another ability not mapped on the UI. When the drive is ready, the player presses the left joystick to activate. As you're traveling through hyperspace, you see the wanted levels go down. Then when you arrive successfully, you've escaped the Empire. The quest, The Broker, is then complete. So that whole sequence was a scripted mission event that would have played out differently if you weren't discovered and if you gave the bribe, as the complete chain of missions was only announced once you escaped, which was long after you received a monetary reward for stealing from the Pikes. Then it cuts to multiple scenes showcasing the variety of missions we can expect. If any of this is true, the game is shaping up to be one of Ubisoft's best. Let's hope it sticks the landing and shoots first. Do note there are multiple options for purchase, which I'm not exactly happy with. There are 4 editions. The standard game that comes with the base game and the pre-order bonus of cosmetic packs for your speeder, which we saw in the gameplay, as well as for your spaceship. This is $69.99 USD, and there's a gold edition for $40 more. This gives you 3 days of early access, as well as the season pass, which states the following: 2 DLCs that will release after launch. Keep exploring the world of Star Wars Outlaws with all new stories, quests, and areas to discover. It also includes the Jabba's Gambit exclusive mission available at launch, and the Kessel Runner character pack featuring additional cosmetics for Kay and Nix. Then there is the Ultimate Edition, which includes all of the above and a Rogue Infiltrator bundle. The Rogue Infiltrator bundle including cosmetics for Kay, Nix and the Speeder, and the Trailblazer spaceship. It includes the Sabek Shark bundle, which includes cosmetics for Kay, her blaster, Nix, the Speeder and the Trailblazer ship as well. And finally, a digital art book. So for $129.99 USD, double the price of a newly released AAA game, they're giving us things that should have been included in the base game for free. Then you have the option of getting the Ultimate Edition if you pay $17.99 a month with Ubisoft Plus, which also gives you access to their other games. However, if you unsubscribe, you lose access. This is a much cheaper way of doing it if you want to play the game and then never touch it again. More and more we're seeing these kinds of practices, having us pay extra for things that have no business being taken out of the base game in order to package up separately. Though this is the way the industry is going now. Just know you can buy the base game and be just fine without all the cosmetic extras. I just hope the extra content isn't that significant. What do you think? Any of this interests you, or are you hesitant? Let me know below. Thanks for watching, and for everything RPG, you're in the right place. Ciao friends.